Welcome to the Authentic Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Ruthie Gray, and today we are covering effective email marketing strategies with my groovy girlfriend, Christa Hutchins, host of the Just One Simple Thing podcast. Christa is the founder of doanewthing.com and the Move Forward Mastermind, as well as a host of other awesome services like the Build a Better Year workshop, because she is a project manager, otherwise known as the left brain to my right brain, do nothing in order be a creative. And she knows how to break our creative projects down into simple steps to get it done. Christa has helped me so much over the years as I have learned to manage expectations and taking on new projects. And she is a wizard at breaking it down simply and effectively. Her advice is always timely, and you should follow her on social media at Do a New Thing and listen to her podcast, which we will have all of those links in the show notes. And her podcast is going to be part 2, continuation of this podcast, which is part 1 of Email Ideas That Work. Today, we'll discuss how to nurture your audience through well-crafted emails and how to be consistent with your newsletter so it keeps you top of mind for your audience. You'll learn how we maintain our individual consistent brand voices in our newsletters, ways to experiment with different email formats, and tips for encouraging email responses. Tune in for actionable insights and get ready to elevate your email marketing game. And now, listen in.
Welcome to Authentic Online Marketing with Ruthie Gray. Growing awareness for your blog, podcast, book, or product involves more than dancing to reels and yelling, "Buy my thing." This show models quality over clamor so you can put your spin on your message and market in a way that feels authentic to you, because nobody wants to sound like an infomercial. And now, here's your host, Ruthie Gray.
Okay, so this is part 1 of Email Ideas That Work for Nurturing Your Audience. Part 2 is coming over on Christa Hutchins' Just One Simple Thing podcast. And in fact, as I said, she's joining me today. Welcome, Christa.
Hey, Ruthie. It's always fun to talk to you, no matter what we're talking about.
That is for sure. We go way back, and it's just great to brainstorm with someone that's like on the same page as you, and we've done a lot of collaborating in the past years, and I think we work a lot in the same circles.
Yeah, we've got a lot of common friends and common clients. And we enjoy working together with them.
We do. So this is a little tip for all you Christian creatives out there, entrepreneurs. Find you a small circle of people who compliment your brand and who cheer you on.
Absolutely. It's been the game changer for me and my business.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to start off with these email ideas that work. So we could give you email ideas, but we want to give you the ones that work because we know they work. We have used them or we have seen them work, and we'll give you some examples of that too. And the first thing we want to talk about really is the purpose of your email. So the purpose of your email really is to develop and strengthen your relationship with your audience.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way that you can communicate with them whenever you want to, right? And whenever they're willing to open it. But if you've done a good job with your email, when it lands in their inbox, they want to open it. And that's what you're aiming for.
We say this a lot, and I know you have, is that do not depend on social media to be your be-all, end-all for your people, because there are a lot of times when everybody's not going to see your posts or whatever, but when you email your people, they can see it. They can choose to open it. It's right there.
Yeah. And that's kind of goes to our second point, is that your email keeps you and what you offer top of mind for your audience. I can't tell you, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, I can't tell you how many times people have called me for coaching or other services or joined a course or a program that have been on my email list forever and never let me know, never reached out to me, never bought anything. But I was always on the top of their mind because they got my email every week. And when they were ready for what I offer, they came to me because they were comfortable. So it keeps you, even though they may not respond with a sale or a purchase or a booking or anything the first time or the 5th time or the 10th time that they have an interaction with you, by emailing them on a consistent basis, you stay top of their mind. And when they do need what you offer, you're the first one they reach out to. And that is really a key, I think, for keeping consistent clients, because you always are keeping people moving through that client pipeline.
Yes. And so don't be discouraged, because there are lurkers in email, just like there are lurkers on social media, you know? And she's right. Sometimes it's just not the right time for them. They might even be interested, but they just can't do it right now. And that leads into the next point that we have, which is your email list is a conduit to your other resources. So maybe you come out with a book later, or maybe you have a new email opt-in, or maybe you start a podcast. These are all ways to let your people know, let your readers know, hey, this is now live.
Yeah, it's a great way for them to know what you offer. And again, if whether they want it right now or want it later, they at least know about it. And I would say if your email list is of a size that this is manageable, I would keep an eye on those people who are lurkers or clickers but don't buy. And if you see the same person doing that over a series of emails, just reach out to them and say, hey, I see you're enjoying the email, or you're checking out a product. Let me know if there's ever anything I can do to support you. Not a pitch, not a salesy thing, just a recognition. Hey, I see you. And if you can keep an eye on those people who are checking out your other resources, then you're going to develop someone who is a loyal friend for life.
You're not doing pressure sales. You're just offering help and information and support. Just keep track of those clicks. See who's opening every once in a while, especially if you're going through a launch.
Yeah.
And, maybe even tag those people for the next launch.
Yeah. There's nothing more powerful than being seen and feeling seen. And when your people feel seen, it may not lead to an immediate sale, but it's definitely leading to strengthening your relationship, so that one day your email will be a platform for sales to them. It'll be the way that they click through and find the things that they want to purchase from you, whether it's a direct link from your email or a link to a sales page, or however you do it technically. Your email is a really important platform for selling what you offer.
100%. And so let's talk about some email formats. This is fun. I like this topic. I like seeing what other people offer. Christa, you have a short version and a long version with yours. And I like that because sometimes I don't have time for the long version,
That was something I came up with a couple of years ago because MailChimp will send you notices, resend to your non-openers. Well, I feel like that's just spammy slamming their inbox with the same exact thing, right? Mm-hmm. Or then there's also a school of thought for a while, we'll just change the subject line and maybe a new subject line will entice them. But again, then I just feel like, they think it's something different, but it's really not. And I feel like that's like a little slimy. And so I thought, okay, let's do a short version. And we called it the skinny version for a while, but now we call it the quick read version. Usually Friday or Saturday, whoever didn't open the Monday email gets the Friday short version where it just has the links and the main points so people can try it out. But I think what's important in talking about your format of your email is that there's not one specific format that works for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what's cool. I mean, my email format is completely different from yours. Mm-hmm. And mine is usually more in a story form because that's just what I love to do. And my readers are receptive to that. But you have to kind of feel out what your format could be, whether it's a personal letter or a short teaser. Some people are just super short. Like I got an email this morning and it was right to the point and it maybe had 5 lines. And
I think Brian Dixon is the king of one-line emails. He will send out, but it is such a well-constructed one line that it makes me want to go look at whatever he is telling me one line about.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right that my newsletter and your newsletter are both very different, but they are both so reflective of our personalities, I think. Right. I mean, yours is so funny. And when I read yours, I'm like, I can hear you. And it's very reflective of how I perceive you. And I know you one-on-one as a person. Mm-hmm. And then mine is a little bit more, I don't know. I'm not nearly as funny as you. That's for sure. But it's more reflective of my personality. Right. And I think that's really important. You want to have that consistent tone that people recognize that this email is the same person that I'm seeing in Instagram stories and other places.
Yes, your email it sounds like you on Instagram. It sounds like you on your podcast. Mm-hmm. It is Christa. Here are the facts, Jack. Yeah. So here's how it is.
There's a little story. Usually there's a little bit of story, but I get pretty quick to the point.
Yeah, it's not a long story. Mine's kind of once upon a time and then it goes someplace else. And then it comes back. But like you said, it shows who we are and people really get to know us that way.
Yeah. And it makes people want to open. I can't wait to open yours. I open yours most of the time. I can't say all the time, but most of the time I love to open your email and see what you're up to.
Oh, that is a huge compliment. And I love yours too, because I know I'm going to get sucked in and think, oh, I want this and I want to look at this and I really need this, So usually they're never deleted. It's like, okay, file this for later.
Yeah, I think too, and both of us include that personal part, that kind of personal reflection portion. But I think there definitely are newsletters and effective newsletters that are mainly just a newsletter. It's like just different topics of information or things. I mean, I think of the pour over newsletter, things like that are informational and not as relational. And that's, again, that's totally a valid type of email, depending on your business and what you're trying to do.
It's good to be different. Mm-hmm. It's good to be different than others. And it's good to write in your own brand voice. Mm-hmm. But you have to sometimes experiment and before you hit your stride on which one of those needs to be the one that you do. Okay, so let's talk about some best practices for email, which is something that I just said. Be consistent with your brand voice. Like, for instance, I have a format that I use every week, and I'm sure you do too, because you're the operations person, systems person. And so then what I do is I duplicate my email from last week and I change all the information, and sometimes the headings are the same.
Right.
Then I change all the links and everything. But as far as being in my own brand voice, I know that I'm going to tell probably a humorous story and I'm going to begin and end in the same way. Hello, friend, or hello, their name. And then I'm always going to end with capturing joy in marketing, Ruthie. And I usually will include things like groovy and 70 terms and sometimes a $6 million man. And so the people that are my people from the 70s are going to get that.
Right, because you're actually specifically targeting that market. So you are using brand language that group of people connects with. And that's, again, it's all part of making sure that your brand and your voice are consistent across all your platforms, not just in your newsletter, but consistent across your newsletter, your podcast, your social, whatever else that you have out there. I think it's also important to be consistent with the format and the length so that people know what to expect. There's, sometimes as I'm scrolling my feed, I'll see one like, oh, I know hers is going to be long. I need to wait till later to read that. Or I'll say, oh, yeah, this will be really quick. And I open up, what are they up to this week? And so understand that helps people as they're going through their inbox to know what they can expect when they get your email. on the format and the length, and they know right where to look for information. If somebody opens mine and they're saying, "Oh, I just want to see what our podcast is about this week," they know exactly where in my email to go to find the link to the podcast, because it's going to be in the same place every time, right? So I think that's really helpful with people.
Yeah. And it's also important to have a consistent schedule. Like maybe you only send it once a month. Maybe it's a monthly newsletter, or maybe it's every other week, or maybe it is every week. And then it's good to try to send it like every Wednesday, every Thursday. Don't get so anal about it though, because I've done that before and it's like, it's Wednesday, I'm not ready. And so I decide, well, is it okay if I send it Thursday? Can I send it Friday? And you know what? I've just decided it's totally fine.
Yeah. I try to be as consistent as I can with the Monday one, but sometimes the Friday one sometimes might be Saturday, might even be Sunday. But sometime before the next Monday, the short version is going to come out. And there's no perfect schedule either. You don't have to email every day, every week, every month. Just pick something. The important thing, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit later as well, is that you're consistent and that it's sustainable for you. Don't start something that you can't keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the other place to be consistent is consistently being open to conversation, which means a call to action in your email. Invite a response, because there's a lot of information out there about how inboxes work and what goes in the inbox and what goes in the spam or the promotions folder. But the bottom line is that the more people interact with you, the more likely your email is to land in their inbox. And so if they respond to you, if they reply to your email, the next time you send an email, it's most likely going to go to their inbox. So you want to always encourage them to respond to you. Hit reply if this resonated with you, or hit reply if something like this has happened to you before, or hit reply if you need more information about this, or whatever. Give them an opportunity to come back at you and tell you something. And then if your list is of a size that you can manage it, try to respond to each and every one of those emails. That's really important to me. When somebody takes the time to respond to my newsletter, I try really hard to always acknowledge them and say, I'm glad you enjoyed it, or thank you for that reply, or I love that you're doing that, or whatever. It doesn't have to be long. But again, it's all part of nurturing and developing a relationship with people so that you get down that know, like, and trust scale with them, right?
It's so true. I have a pet peeve with people who do not respond to their emails, or there's a hot spot for me. If I send a reply to their email and it says, "Oh, I wish that I could respond to every single email, but I can't." And I'm just like, well,
yeah, you just made me feel really special, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even if they do end up responding later, it's just kind of like, don't do that to people. Respond. Sometimes I'll get a bunch of responses and it'll take me a few days,
Yeah.
Maybe it's even another week. I've already sent the next email, but it's on my list and I will star it. So I will get back to people.
Yeah. I do too. I think that's really important. It's an important part of developing relationships for sure.
Well, we're going to continue this conversation over on Christa's podcast. But before we go, Christa, why don't you share with the folks how they can find you?
You can find me on my podcast, Just One Simple Thing, where we talk about goals, plans, and strategies for the Christian creative, and some simple things you can do one at a time to make progress in your ministry or business. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Do a New Thing on Instagram and Facebook, and my website, doanewthing.com. So I'd love to get to know you if we don't already know each other.
Yes, y'all need to listen to her podcast. Just One Simple Thing. It's short. It's like mine, only maybe a little shorter. And one thing to take action on every week. Go subscribe, go follow her on all the channels. Thank you for being with us, Christa.
Oh, it's been a lot of fun.
All right. Since this conversation was packed with information and insights, I just want to wrap it up with 5 bullet points before you head over to listen to part 2 on Christa's Just One Simple Thing podcast. Number 1, building relationships through email is key. Make your email so enticing readers can't resist opening it. Number 2, Email trumps social media posts for visibility. Not everyone will see your social posts, but email lands right in their inbox, waiting to be opened. Make each email count by offering value and keeping your audience engaged. Number 3, is someone a consistent clicker but not a buyer? Recognize them. A simple, "Hey, I see you," can build loyalty. It's not about the immediate sale, but nurturing long-term relationships. Authentic connections lead to trust. Number 4, experiment with your email formats. There's no one-size-fits-all. Whether it's a short teaser or a lengthy story, find what resonates with your audience and stick to it. My story format works for me. What's yours? Number 5, consistency in email voice builds trust. Whether you email weekly or monthly, ensure your tone matches across your platforms. Your audience will appreciate knowing what to expect, and they'll keep coming back for more. Thanks for listening today. Now, my call to action for you is to go follow Christa's show at Just One Simple Thing and listen to part 2 of Email Ideas That Work. And could I just take this one step further and ask you to screenshot this episode and tag me and Christa on social media so others can listen too? That's a huge show of support for us, and it helps us get more people listening, engaging, and sharing our show so we can stay up and running and produce great content for you to go out there and market your message your way in your own authentic voice.